political deal or settlement that will result in a long-term ceasefire at the moment.
In terms of changing the dynamic, it just seems as though every time they come to the table, there is a complete lack of commitment or political willingness to really engage with each other. We see now an escalation in the airstrikes in Sana'a. It just seems as though they're still trying to gain the upper hand on the ground so they don't have to make so many concessions at the negotiating table.
Yes, of course, you know, this agreement to keep talking really then takes the pressure off them just to keep fighting. So there's a huge amount of pressure from the UN, from the international community, to try and get everybody to the table, to try and reach this political agreement that everybody says has to be the only and is the only solution to this conflict. But just by agreeing to go along with the UN and the international community in this means that they can just keep fighting. So at the moment, that commitment to peace talks or political negotiations appears to be just minimal, enough to keep the pressure off them so that they can then go back and just keep fighting, which, as we've seen in the last few days, that's just escalated. You've had the airstrikes, you've had ballistic missiles being fired by the Houthis as well. So there isn't really any indication on the ground that everybody wants to down tools and stop fighting yet.
And what needs to happen for us to see a genuine shift in that momentum? Typically, negotiations are a vehicle for diffusing tensions. In this case, it takes the international pressure off to allow them to continue their fighting. Does pressure have to come from, is it pressure from the US exerted on Saudi Arabia? Is it Iran? Is it the UN?
I don't think anybody's got a huge amount of leverage over any of the sides in this conflict. I think really the pressure will come from how the conflict develops on the ground. So is there going to be more pressure on the Houthis? Are they going to face major defeats, whether that be in Taiz or if ground troops push on towards Sana'a? Or are the Saudis going to get to the stage where they don't think that they can push on to Sana'a? They are reaching a stalemate position. Now, at the moment, all indications are that the Saudis are ready to escalate this. They're training forces at the moment in the Emirates. From my own sources, I've even heard there's Libyans and Somalians being trained along with Yemenis, that they are trying to create
more ground troops
in order to push on with the ground war.
Thanks very much, Iona Craig, for sharing your insight with us.